Is it always necessary to learn to read and write a language, or are there situations where it would be okay to just learn how to speak? Hello noble ones and welcome to Metatron's Academy, the channel where we explore how to learn languages in the most fun and effective way possible. And today we are talking about this idea of, should you always try to learn how to read and write in a language, even though perhaps the thing you're most interested in is in fact speaking and communicating orally? Well, the answer is actually a little deeper than you might think, and there are a few scenarios we're going to consider. But as a basis introduction and sort of a too long didn't read answer, I'd like to get the obvious out of the way. It would always be good and advisable to learn a language in the most complete way possible. So if you have a chance, the possibility, the means to learn how to read and write as well as to speak, then absolutely try to learn the full package. But there are situations in which it might be okay to just learn to speak, and in fact there are some situations in which it might even be advisable, believe it or not. The first thing we need to examine is what language are you choosing to learn, because very much will depend on how difficult it is, in fact, to learn to read and write in said language. After having established what language you are targeting, we need to consider three things: your personal situation, your age, and the level of interest you have towards that language. Let's review them one by one. Let's review the target language first. It goes without saying that learning how to read and write in English, as opposed to Italian, are going to have certain level of difficulty that is nowhere near what you would have to face if you were to learn Mandarin or Japanese. So the answer to this question is really case-based. Well, let's look at Italian first. Even though Italian has a more complex grammar when compared to English, for example, it is rather easy to learn when it comes to reading and writing. In fact, it's easier than English. Now, given this is at least what every Italian will ever say until the day they die. In the sense that all Italians will tell you, oh, Italian is so easy to read and write. You only have 21 letters, every letter is just pronounced one way, and it's easy. You don't have weird stuff and you don't have letters that you don't pronounce. Now, in general, this is true, although there are a couple of exceptions, like there are situations in which the I, we write it, but we don't pronounce it. For example, the word Giovanni, which in fact every foreigner tends to mispronounce Giovanni. It's Giovanni. The only reason why the I is there is because without it, I would read it Govanni. Another example is adagio, not adagio. But it is fair to say that these are little exceptions and they are so rare in Italian that once you memorize the one or two cases in which you do need to know how the rule works, then yes, you'll absolutely be able to read and write Italian no problem. If you've ever seen advertisement for mobile game, one of the things that is mostly used is the expression easy to learn, difficult to master. Well, in this case, it does apply to Italian in the sense that Italian, when it comes to reading and writing, is very easy to learn. If your goal is simply to be able to understand what you're reading and for natives to know what you're trying to say. But to get to the point where you read Italian and you sound really good, you sound almost like a native to the point that an Italian listening to you read will go, gosh, how did you do that? That's incredible. Well, that takes an enormous amount of work, even in Italian. Why? Because even though it is true that our consonants have only one sound attached to them, generally, it is also true that the way we pronounce the consonants, for example, is completely unaspirated, and this is something that can be a little difficult to achieve for people who, for example, speak, say, English or Chinese, languages that tend to aspirate, for example, their P's and T's at the beginning of sentences. Ticket, kill, pitch. Well, with an Italian accent, the aspiration goes away completely. That's why when we Italians tend to speak English, we tend to have this accent. Ticket, pitch, kill. And that's how we read these consonants in our language all the time, completely unaspirated. In other words, even though you can learn that the CH in Italian is always a K sound, you have to be careful with that explanation because it's the K sound in the word skill, not in the word kill. Skill, 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 skill. Kill, 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 kill. See how it moves when I say kill? It wouldn't move in Italian, ever. But to go back to our original point, it's true. You can learn how to read and write in Italian relatively quickly, so why not doing it? Now, when it comes to something like Japanese or Mandarin, well, those languages, learning how to read and write because the basic, the minimum to be considered literate, you need to know about 2000 kanji or Hanzi, which means that that's going to take you, well, if you're an excellent student and you go full-time, it's going to take 4 or 5 years. If you're not an excellent student or you can't go full-time, consider a decade. So since we have just said that with simple languages, you should always try and do it, let's just focus for now, for this second part of the video, onto those languages such as Mandarin, Japanese, where it's going to be difficult and it's going to take a lot of work. Does it always make sense to allocate so much resources, time, energy, mental energy to learn how to read and write them, or are there scenarios where you should just try to pick them up as a spoken language? And to answer this properly and professionally, let's address those 3 points that I mentioned earlier on. Your personal situation is the first point. So are you a full-time student? Are you a university student? Are you trying to get a degree in that language? Then no questions asked. You need to learn how to read and write them. If your career is going to be based on how good you are in that language, particularly in a competitive society where you're going to compete with other people for job positions, it's not even a question. You have to learn how to read and write. In fact, you need to be really good at it, together with how you speak and how you pronounce it. You need to excel in everything because you need to be competitive. The second factor was your age. If you are starting to learn languages very early, for example, you're a child, like you're starting at age 9, it's your son, your daughter, then absolutely, they can take it as a game. It can be learnt in a playful way, and also their brains are so malleable that it's going to be easier for them to memorize the characters, and also they have a long time to do it. So even native Japanese speakers and Chinese speakers, it takes them a long time. Basically, they need to go through the entirety of the school system before they know all the kanji. And when I say all the kanji, I mean all the kanji they need to be able to be considered literate and be able to get a job, because no one really knows all the kanji. I don't think there is a human being on the planet that knows all the kanji. But regardless, if you have a long time because you're very young, by all means, there's no reason not to do it. If you are in your 20s, for example, I started in my early 20s to learn Japanese, and even though I didn't have as much time as a child, I was already coming from having reached fluency in English. I was extremely focused, and at first that was going to be my career. I ended up being a YouTuber, but in theory, Japanese was supposed to be the thing that would have given me a job, and it did. For some time I was a Japanese teacher until I kind of stopped because I didn't really have time, because I needed to make videos. But in general, if you are older, like if you're in your 40s and you're just starting to pick up the language, it wouldn't harm to learn the occasional thing, like learn hiragana and katakana in Japanese. Learn the occasional kanji. If you're studying Mandarin, maybe learn the first 100 characters. You probably won't be able, unless, again, you're already retired and have a lot of time. But if you have a job, if you're busy, if you have a family, you probably won't have the time to invest into reaching an incredible knowledge of characters in a short period of time. So my idea is either focus on, I just want to know a little bit, and then just focus on the spoken language as a personal cultural development and communication, or, and this will link the last section, just take your time. Even if you're 40, if you learn it by the time you're 55, who cares? And when I say learn, I mean the full 2000 characters. Now let's get to the last part, which is how interested you are. And this is really the most important thing. If it's something that really fascinates you, if you love the way they write things in Korean, then there is absolutely no reason not to do it. Forget people that tell you, yeah, but it's gonna take you so much time and so many hours, and you could have spent those hours into actually practicing the spoken language. They're not really being realistic, because at the end of the day, even though that's true, the reality is, in my experience as both a former full-time student and a former teacher, is that people don't maximize or optimize the amount of time they're dedicating to the language that they're studying anyways, until you're actually moved to another country. When you're moved there, everything becomes a linguistic exercise or an opportunity to speak. You can even listen to a movie while you're practicing the characters, and then you're doing both things at the same time. Learning the characters is also important to have a deeper understanding of what you're actually saying and the etymology of the words. So it's not just a medium for learning how to read and write, but it also allows you to have a deeper knowledge of these languages and how they work. So you also gain something that you will be able to connect to your overall understanding of the language, not just the ability to read and write. It will connect and give you a deeper understanding on why that specific sound you use to mean microphone actually does mean microphone, because you'll know the etymology and the semantic field, so the actual meaning of it and where it comes from. In a way, it's kind of similar to knowing the Latin root of the Latin-based words that you use even in English or in Italian. It gives you a deeper knowledge. And as I say, and this is the most crucial point at the end of this discussion, if you are interested, if you think it's fun, do it. Focus on it and learn it. But to conclude, I have seen people that lived 22 years in Japan, married a Japanese, had a Japanese kid, of course half Japanese and half Italian, and they did not learn one character, and they could still live in Japan and do all of that and have a career. The way that can work, so the situation in which I would even say, yeah, who cares, just whatever, is because first they hated the whole idea of sitting down and studying the characters. So that already kind of puts you in a position where if you really hate every second of it, you're not really gonna do much anyways, unless you're like a soldier when it comes to your discipline. Second, there are jobs that don't require it. Like in this case, this person was a waiter. As a waiter, you can do literally 20 years, 30 years of working in Japan without knowing how to read and write a single thing. And you might be like, yeah, but what about the menus? It doesn't matter. The customers need to be able to read the menu, and then they tell you, I want this, and you just write it in your language. You can do it. I know it. I've seen it done. Does it make it easy to live in Japan? Not really, because you're never 100% independent, in the sense that you'll always be, if you go to a bank, you can sit down and do everything you need to do speaking, and then if you need to sign, you just sign. You can't read it, of course, you can't read anything, so you'll always need someone to tell you what's written in there, but in general, you can live there. The only problem is that whenever you get a light bill, you can read the number you need to pay, but you don't know where the office is, so you're gonna have to ask someone to help you. So you'll always need help from natives or people who are able to read. But is it doable? Yes, particularly if you have connections, as I say, a wife, a brother, a friend, someone who does read and write. But it's never, you'll always feel a little bit of an outsider. Like you'll be 100% integrated in anything speaking related, but whenever there is something, people are reading something and are laughing, you won't know what the heck they're on about. So still, can it be done? Yes. Do I advise it? No, not really. But there are some situations in which I think it might still be the best option if you either don't have the time, or if you think that focusing too much on something so complicated as learning 2,000 characters might actually make you give up the language entirely. If that's the case, don't worry about it. Just learn how to speak. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching and joining Metatron's Academy.